everybody, good day to you. Welcome to Talk, Teach, Play. My name is Aaron Locks. I'm the CEO and founder of the National Academy of Athletics. I'm fired up today because I've got Ryan with me today, and we're going to talk about physical activity with kids. Before we get to the topic, Ryan, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing fantastic. Blue skies in Virginia, can't complain.
There you go. I love the fact that we've been able to connect on so many different platforms, and we get a chance to actually have a chat today. Today's topic, by the way, for the Talk, Teach, Play channel is how to help your kids embrace physical activity. And we'll get into a little bit more of that in a second. Obviously, it's been kind of a long couple of years, but Ryan, you're a self-proclaimed Clubhouse-aholic, as we know, because we work together on that as well. But why don't you tell us a little bit more about your background? Because I think it's important that they understand you're really an expert. You're not just talking this, you've lived this.
So I'm starting year 22 in education. Most of it has been in middle school health and PE. I've taught in North Carolina and Virginia, a couple of years in Pennsylvania at a private school and an elementary school. And then I've done a year as a school administrator. On top of that, I've coached any other sport under the sun, volleyball, softball, wrestling, track and field, baseball, basketball, soccer. And then I've been an athletic director 14 years prior. And then I'm starting the position again new at my school this year. So I also worked for NASP, which is now known as Shape America, for a little bit of as a program director, which I kind of spread the word about health and PE across the United States. So I have a little bit of experience.
Well, let me first say, for all those parents that haven't said it, thank you for what you do. And your willingness to share your insight and information is amazing. And the fact that you're constantly helping. Everywhere I go, I'm talking about this with teachers and this with administrators, and there you are. And it's a wonderful connection. I really appreciate you willing to put it out there. So, just so we kind of understand background wise, I grew up, I wasn't the most athletic kid. About 7 years old, my mom kicked me out of the house theoretically and said, "Here's your baseball coach, go play baseball." And I was on my journey, right? From then on, the rest is history. How about you? When did you get involved in health and fitness and sports or all that?
My dad was a big athlete in high school and going forward, and he really encouraged us at a young age. I got involved with Little League, in the spring, and then we moved on to like soccer and a little bit of flag football, but then we got involved with basketball from ankle biters all the way up. So it was an opportunity. Sorry with my dog barking here. It's an opportunity for me to go ahead and stay active. I wasn't the best athlete. My sister got all the athletic prowess. She was an NCAA athlete, but I found out, from my end, hold on a second.
Yeah. And you got to be able to adapt, especially as a teacher, right?
Be able to be flexible. So, I played a little bit in high school. I played baseball in high school, but I really found my niche to see the other side of it, to be on the other side of the ball, coaching and recruiting and being able to see the big picture. And I latched on to my dad, and he taught me how to coach. And that's where I got a lot of my influence from. So I'm very grateful for that.
Well, what a great connection to have that with your dad and be able to carry that on in education. But over 20 years of doing this, obviously you've seen a lot of this. But going back, young Ryan, when you were playing, so was there some coach? It sounds like your dad was a lot of your inspiration, but was there a coach or a teacher or somebody that kind of said, here you go, and move on with that?
Well, I grew up in upstate New York, and all my dad's friends were very big into athletics, the rec leagues and things like that. My dad played fast pitch softball, and those people were my idols. Those people growing up, my sixth grade teacher, Mr. Potter, a lot of the health and PE teachers in the area, I saw them as larger than life people. And I said, I want to be like that when I grow up. They just had an air about them, but they were willing to teach us. They were willing to show us things, and not in an organized setting. If we were out playing pickup games, they might have drove by and said, "Hey, let's play." And I'll never forget that stuff.
What's funny about that, Ryan? Not to cut you off, it's funny to me. I remember Mr. Goldstein, 5th grade. I remember Mr. Racines, Mr. Chavez, Krasinski, all these guys throughout the journey. And the physical education ones, I think a lot of it has to do when you're young, but we used to playground a lot, like you're talking about, and our kids don't get to do that. One of the sad things to me right now that I'm seeing, and it's not just because of the pandemic, prior to this as well, there was a statistic, 78% of what our kids between the ages of 4 and 14, what they hear every single day is a direction or a correction from the time they get up in the morning until they go to bed. So if you think about that, get up, eat breakfast, put your bowl in the sink, rinse it out, right? Okay, get dressed, brush your hair, brush your teeth. Where's your coat? It's wet out. Where's your backpack? Forgot. Okay, after school, blah, blah. All right, here we go. Now they sit in class. Sit here in English, right? Double space and math. Show your work. Pay attention. Okay, now, right? And then after school, hey, hurry up. We got basketball practice and your sister's got volleyball practice or piano lessons or whatever the heck it is. Then they get home, we got to eat dinner and we got to take a bath or a shower. And then we got to do homework. And then maybe there's a little time for something and then go to bed. That's not how you grew up, right?
No. I got pushed out of the house like you did at an early age. And then it was something that I wanted to do. I wanted to be outside. I had sets of friends depending on where my grandparents were, depending on where my aunts and uncles were. I gravitated toward those friends in that area. And I knew that we could say, knock on kids' door and say, hey, let's go play football, and grab a Nerf football and put our, whatever down for boundaries and play. Right. And we played till it got dark. And even then we went to the parks that had lights and played games under the lights.
So with the challenge we're dealing with now, which is helping kids embrace being physical, right? Especially in the last couple of years, they've been basically told, don't go out there, don't do this, sit still, work on the computer, phones, whatever, electronic. How do we unplug the kids? How do we start that process? Now, I want to talk about it on kind of different levels, if it's okay, because my upbringing was the same as yours. And it drives me nuts when I see kids that are just, like sloths. And I'm like, come on, man, let's go. And I'm not in most amazing shape, but you know what? I can hike, I can walk, I can play hoops, I can do stuff. And I think we have to put that into our kids because it's so important. So let's break it in a couple segments that might help the people out there. So as a parent, what do you think I could do as a parent to help my kids? Let's say I've got, what grade are you coaching now?
Middle school, 6, 7, and 8.
6, 7, 8. Okay. So those natural are already kind of like, well, I've been there, done that kind of kids anyways, right? So let's say, let's start with the middle school age and we'll go backward, go forward. But the middle school age kids, what do I do? If I'm a parent, how do I get my kid to want to be more active? Or what got any suggestions?
I think you start simple and you make learning, you make it with walking, going for a walk. You don't have to dive into the youth sports. I mean, that's a whole different direction, but I mean, you need to make things fun. And I think that's what I've been doing for the last 22 years is, and what my former students have always come to me and said, you made it fun. Whatever it was, you played music, you were like, you had some incentive. Sometimes you have to dangle the carrot out in front of your kid and say, look, if you can, walk a mile with me today, use a pedometer and say 10,000 steps, I'll give you money toward what you want, and you use fitness as that carrot and things for that carrot, they're going to learn to like it after a while.
Right.
You're hoping that you live in an area that there's kids around. If not, encourage them to say, hey, would you like to have some friends over? Right. Be that mom or be that dad. That's the safe place. One of my friends growing up, he's, my age now, and he's like the dad that takes them all roller skating or dad that takes them all different places. He goes, I just want my kid active. I want them doing stuff. I want to introduce.
Where you started with, which is interesting, which is do it with them, right? So one of the things that's also helpful for you parents that are out there listening, right? Why not? Yeah. But to do it with your kids. I know for me, when I would shoot hoops with my kids or play catch with them, they wanted to do more. Like you said, when you watch those kids, those adults that are playing, they're kind of like your role models, and you wanted to be like them, right? Not just be like Mike or be like whatever. You wanted to be like them and play and have an opportunity. So good. So getting them out, going forward for there. So now, what about if well, I guess it's going to be the same for any age group. So the question is then, if you're working with the teachers, let's say you're a teacher and you tell me, hey, my 10-year-old, my 11-year-old, they're not really participating that much. So you're telling me as a teacher, right? I'm giving the information to the parent. What do we do? How do we work together? Because it takes a village. We know that, right?
Without a doubt, it takes more than a village. I think it's, being transparent and not being afraid to tell the parent that, I'm really concerned that, I'm providing this information and providing these tools for you to be a better, a healthier person. I would like to see you involved in that. What can I do to encourage you on that side, to encourage the parent first? If you get the parent to buy into what you're doing, they're going to encourage their kids, their students, in order to, say, look, Mr. Pelkey is really want us to do this. We're doing this thing where we're going to log all the way across America by these steps. Let's do it. Post it on the refrigerator. Say, hey, I'm going to do this with you. and get in a competition, especially the older grades, middle school and a little bit higher. Make it a competition. Like Fitbit and Apple have those great little, you can do challenges every week.
Right.
And when kids make it a game, they're going to be more active. And if the parents are included in that, when my kids, I have 2 kids, and they saw me involved in that, they were like, I'm not going to let dad beat me. What are you doing?
Right.
So make it a little more in fun, make it an incentive, make it a game. For other parents, I really feel like, maybe we have town hall meetings. We have these introductions like this to say, because a lot of parents don't know.
Right.
And maybe if we can provide them the same information we're providing the kids, and
Right.
let them know it's not the old school, push-ups, sit-ups, mountain climbers, and you better do this or you're going to have to run laps.
Right.
A lot of it'll change. I think the mindset has to change across the board.
Well, it does. I was blessed after college. I got to work for John Wooden, right? And his pyramid of success is kind of it's my life motto. It makes it easy. Success and peace of mind of knowing you're done your very best. How that relates to this is just do a little bit every day. Like you said, just do a little bit and then become something. But our play hard, have fun at the National Academy of Athletics motto, which is interesting to me. It's all based on Coach Wooden's philosophy, which is, look, if you have to have industriousness, which is work, right? Doing work. And enthusiasm, love what you do. And if you have industrious or you do hard work, but you don't love what you do, then you know what? Especially if you're talking about getting in shape, you're going to get bored and you're not going to want to keep doing it. So you're going to have these peaks and valleys, right? And then if you love what you do, right? I love it, but you're not really getting anything done, you're not getting anywhere, right? No results. So it's only like you're saying, and obviously you've embraced that play hard, have fun component, because now you're basically taking the two together, and that's where sustainable, achievable goals can happen.
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt. I mean, you have to be able to use the apps on your phone, use the incentive. You have to have the intrinsic drive. And if you don't have the intrinsic drive, you can't push it on to anybody else. That's something some of my students suffer from. They just like, there's no one pushing me at home. They don't care. I'm a latchkey kid. My mom sees me at like 10 o'clock at night to kiss me goodnight, and that's it. So what can I do is to encourage them to be in after school athletics, encourage them, even if they're not going to play, be a manager, learn the sport, learn an activity, just be active. Right. We've had different programs like the Mile Club and stuff like that, where kids just ran after school. They crave that stuff. Right. And that's where we put out the word of having those after school buses to take them home. Sometimes we're the only place that they're going to get that activity, whether it's academics or activity from there.
Well, again, thank you for doing that. And it seems to me that one of the things we've got to stop in mentality is, again, it's another John Wooden quote, right? Don't let what we cannot do interfere with what we can, right? Of course. So let's find what we can do. Let's put these pieces of the puzzle together and move forward. So what changes? I've seen a lot of things on my end. We do a lot of on the true teams and athletics side of things. But thinking about school and PE, what changes are you seeing that's coming down the pipeline? I know I've listened to you talk a lot. So what's going on in the classroom? What changes are being taught to the educators that you think are important? So if the teachers are out there, anybody that they can learn from and kind of embrace. I've seen a lot of stuff you do, and I love the fact that you use the competition where it used to be a negative word, right? But competition is just play. If you and I are going to play chess, I'm going to try to kick your butt, right? Yeah. We're done. Hey, bump fist. All right, let's go back at it, right? Competition is not a bad thing. The way we have to go about it. So how do you take someone that's not very athletic or not really that interested and take competition and play and education and teaching? What's going on in PE? What do they teach?
I use my strengths on my students first and foremost. They might not be the most athletic. They might not be, the one that's going to be jumping in head first to all these games. But if they bring out, like I do a lot of integration. I use math, social studies, arts, the sciences in the gym for different activities. So I use their quick thinking. I break it down where they can take their strength and add it to the team. If we're doing team building skills, if we're stacking cups, maybe the smallest kid can sit on the shoulders of the largest kid and do their part and they feel successful. Yeah. Maybe one of the things is they have to do a math problem. Lean on the kids that are very smart at math. They might not be the most athletic ones, but they feel part of the team. Make everyone has a role. And I really stress that, whether it's doing relays, whether I'm doing team building skills, even fitness stuff. I want people to understand that improvement is improvement. If you can do one push-up in September and you can do 2 push-ups in May, you improved. And I love it. And I'm going to celebrate you as much as the kid can go from 35 to 70.
Right.
But making sure that everyone feels value, making sure everyone feels important, and they'll want to come back. They'll want to do more things because they'll remember last time when we had that problem and Joe stepped up to help us. He might not know how to kick a ball, but he made us win because he was that cog that we missed. He was that important piece that we missed.
There's a word that's coming to my mind, and I'm trying to formulate exactly, but I guess it's just optimism. You're actually, in my mind, you're creating an optimistic environment where they can see that competing against themselves is really the competition, right? To be better. And isn't that what we all want? And be able to provide that opportunity for ourselves and the children we teach. Wow. So are you finding that after the pandemic, and now that you're back in class and you're in person, especially whether it's 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, or 2 years with them being apart, are you finding that there's some struggles, and how are you overcoming that?
Oh yeah, I feel like talent wise, a lot of kids dropped off because they didn't do those workouts. I mean, we provided them. We would say the start of every class when we were virtual learning to say, hey, first 15 minutes of class, you can pick from yoga and Tai Chi and Tabata and all these different workouts. We're hoping that they did it at home. We can provide as much as we can, and we actually spread out more than anything else. But that learning loss, I hate using that word, but there was it's like when you don't work out for a year, it's real hard to get back into it. It's real hard to be back on that peak, thing, because a lot of team sports, a lot of youth sports weren't involved. So the kids were sitting at home and they didn't know what to do. There was no one saying, like you said before, get up, wash your face, do this, do that. In terms of athletics, in terms of teaching, there was no one really to say, go outside, go for a walk, meet with your friends and do this. Kids don't know what to do. And a lot of it has to do with safety. I'll be honest.
No, I'm with you.
I used to run the roads and ride my bike 20 miles to another town when I was younger. Can't do that now. So everything has to be organized. Everything has to be, within a framework, because otherwise it's not safe. And it's unfortunate that we live in a society like this, but it is.
So I got a mom. It's interesting. She's from actually outside of Portland, Oregon. And she sent a message. I messaged the topic that I was going to talk. And she goes, tell me, my son is now 9 years old and he used to play sports all the time. Since the pandemic, he won't do anything. I can't get him off the couch. He barely wants to go back to school. And I'm wondering if you got any suggestions. I know for myself, first of all, thanks for sharing with me. I do appreciate your willingness to share that with us. But Lisa, here's what I would suggest. One is, like he said, is to do it with him. Do something to get them off the couch and go with you. And I know maybe start once a week on Saturday mornings and build up or whatever it is. Me, I love the sunsets. So I have a couple of places where I go and I try to get people out and do that. But that's one way to do it. The other is that I would suggest you talk with the teachers and find out what they're doing and what opportunities are there, what activities. Because what I do know is the more they're involved in school, they're more involved in the extracurricular activities. That's what makes the whole school experience that much better for them, right? You got anything else for him?
No, I think that, getting them out, maybe start with things that they like. If they're interested in online things, there's a lot of videos out that put on YouTube where they're interactive exercise, where the kids running through Minecraft fields, or they're running, and say, hey, would you like to try this? And if it piques their interest, great. If not, plan B, plan C, plan D, plan E. Maybe take them places. Maybe take them, going to an amusement park, you're getting 15,000 steps by the time you're done walking that day.
Right.
And not everything has to cost money, but there's a fitness element in anything and everything you can possibly do. Think about the mall walkers back in the 80s and 90s. People that used to walk around the mall. They never shopped or anything, but they walked around the mall because they knew it was a fitness thing. There's so many activities now that you can, I love sneaking that fitness in there. I love sneaking things that they might not know, the teamwork, the cooperation. So in her case, if you can find something that he likes, add in stuff slowly, little by little, increase that awareness, talk to his teachers, and see where you can meet in the middle. At a certain point, your 9-year-old's going to have to start coming to the table and saying, okay, I'll try it. They can't just keep pushing. They're going to have to start coming to the table and meeting you. And that's part of growing up, and acknowledge that and reward it.
It's great. I just think at some point we have to get to the place where we're able to lift them off the couch, maybe not physically, but some way, and whether you take their hand or wherever it is. But really, really good advice. We've talked a lot about PE specifically, right? Kind of that. But I love the fact you're kind of talking about, like we said, it does take a whole village, right? After school athletics, lunchtime intramurals, even playing foursquare. I was blown away. There's a lot of schools we go in and we have to teach the kids how to play together on the playground. It bothers me. I mean, you and I in the day, right? Okay, here we go, right? And then okay, there's only 4-on-4 baseball, so right field's closed, pitcher's mound's as good as first, and we improvised, we made things happen. But you know what I think? I think a lot of that is why we're able to survive and thrive now. And I fear that with our kids being programmed and taught and told all the time what to do, instead of here they are, where give them a chance. But there's got to be a balance between bringing them out, like you said, the individual accountability for that. I use Runkeeper. I'm not a runner at all. I'm not built for running, but I use Runkeeper because it tracks my steps, right? And if you just have something, then okay, I did this much today, and go from there and setting your goals. What do you do for your classroom or for your kids in terms of goals? How do you set goals for them? How do you break those out?
We're doing our pre-tests in FitnessGram, which is the Cooper Institute right now. And when I tell them, they're asking, what do I need to pass? No, we're not doing
wait. Say that again, because that's a good one for understand. It's not just passing the grade, right? You're actually teaching
because they're passing grades. And, you do 25 sit-ups with the cadence, then you're going to pass. I don't want to hear that. I'd say I don't post those just because. I'll say try your best. Whatever you end up as, that's where you're going to start from. And then whatever throughout the year we practice, and then we'll test in the middle of the year and test at the end of the year. And we reward them based on how well they do. I mean, it's not like you're not going to get an A because you did 100 on the pacer test. Right. I mean, that's fantastic. I'm going to applaud you. In fact, this year we're actually pumping the brakes on a lot of our fitness because they're wearing a mask inside.
Yeah.
We want to make sure that they're safe. We want to make sure that they're not over exerting themselves, having to wear a mask, not getting that proper airflow. So we use grace. We use a lot of reality, but we do reward them. We make them rate out their goals, and we did this online as well last year. And that was one of the benefits last year, is they had a chance, that one-to-one computer where they had their own computer, they could look up things and they could justify their goals. I want to do 30 curl ups by the end of the year because I believe that this will help my core strength, which will help in these sports. And so that right there is their own reward. If they can do better in whatever they want to do, karate or anything like that, then they're getting a reward without me having to give them a gold star.
And what I love about that is you're really creating a place where they are developing and shifting between external and intrinsic or internal motivation. And that's really what we want from our kids. Ideally, we like them to be able to want to do these things on their own, right? Sure. So role modeling is good. Doing it with them is good. Making it fun is good. Setting goals for them is good. Positive reinforcement. These are all really, really, really good things that we highly recommend. Man, great. Well, hey, I appreciate your time. I wanted to get in about your book because I'm kind of excited for you, and I know that it's come out. So give us a little information on your book, and congratulations. I know as someone who's done a little bit of that, it's exciting to get that stuff out there.
So I'll just kind of start with this. About 8 months ago, I decided I'm not just a health and PE teacher. I'm not just a teacher. I'm not just this. I took that word just and I broke it apart. And I started doing public speaking, and I got encouraged to write my book. The book is called The Boy Who Lost His Ears, kind of a true story. It's loosely based on my nephew. I always heard my brother-in-law say, Nick, if you don't start listening, your ears are going to fall off. It's sort of like you don't water a plant, the plant dies and it falls apart. Well, this happens during the book. Nick has a problem listening. He's about a 5th, 6th grader in the book, and he has a problem listening, not paying attention. He has problems when he gets hit in the head with a kickball because he's not paying attention out in the outfield. And the next morning he wakes up and he doesn't have any ears. And he has to maneuver through life without his ears over the next series of days. And what that does is it causes him to understand that he doesn't need his ears to listen. He doesn't need his ears to communicate. It's all intrinsic. And for him to be able to appreciate that and appreciate the relationships that he has with people, because they do show grace. They feel sorry for him at first because he doesn't have his ears, but then they also he starts understanding them, they start understanding him. And finally, I wrote it through the lens of my brother-in-law, being a single father, raising someone. It's okay to show emotion. It's okay to show that nurturing that a lot of people don't see out of dads. There's a part in the book where Nick goes to the hospital and he's very worried, and all of a sudden his dad just touches his hand and he says, "It's okay, I got you." You know, it's okay for dads to do that.
Right.
It's okay for a man to do that with his son or with a nephew or something like that. And I'm really hoping that fathers advocacy groups will latch onto this. You know, listening skills, you know, if you lose your listening skills, you're lost in a world that's trying to tell you something.
Right.
So
well, congratulations. It brings me back to Stephen Covey, seek to understand before being understood, right? But
sure.
Wow, okay, sounds like a cool book. So where do they get it, man? Where
it's on Amazon, paperback and ebook format. I don't have one yet. It just got started being printed yesterday.
Very cool.
So as soon
okay,
as
so give us the title again.
It's the boy who lost the boy who lost his ears.
Boy lost his ears.
A kind of a true story.
A kind of a true story. And where they put your name, Ryan Pelkey, which is Pelkey.
Yep, just search it, Pelkey. Just search it. It's the first one that comes up. Only
Perfect.
one that comes
Great. Okay. Congratulations on that. Now, what if anybody, maybe I'm a teacher, because I know you're an advocate. I know they can find you on Clubhouse. We spend a lot of time on there as well. But where should they, if I'm a teacher or I'm a parent and I want to find out more about what you got going on or how to find out more? It sounds like you got a really cool thing going for kids and you're helping people out. So where would they go to find more information?
On Instagram, Twitter, and Clubhouse, always at Mr_Pelkey, Pelkey. Try to keep it simple.
Perfect. I appreciate it. Well, and those of you that got a chance to listen today and watch and tune in, I appreciate, as always, make sure you do click on the subscribe button. That'll give you more action to the other things we got going on here. If you want to reach up to us, you can catch us at info@naofa.us. Of course, go to talkteachplay.com. And of course, all the social media stuff. And we appreciate the support and the time and focusing and listening, all the energy you do. What I always like to remind everybody when we wrap this thing up is when you go out there, especially now that you're working with kids and help them, is to encourage them to play hard and have fun. So I appreciate everybody. Thanks, Ryan. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.